Hey guys, can you hear me at all? Apologies if is there no audio from my voice or from the okay, one second. Is that any better, guys? Can you guys hear me now? Okay, good, good, good. Okay. Sorry about that. So I've been talking for the last couple of minutes and I was completely muted. Apologies, guys. Um, I was just let me try and turn the volume on the mic up. Sorry about that. I was trying to mess around with settings because I know last time someone said there was a little bit of an echo on the audio, so uh, I tried to get that fixed, and obviously you've messed something else up instead. But okay, good. I'm glad it's working, and thank you everybody for jumping on and joining me. Um, so I was actually saying just before when obviously you guys couldn't hear me, this is kind of the follow-up to the stream I did about a week and a half ago, where I was talking about the Killzone Mercenary servers being offline, and I had to kind of I have to take back everything I said about Sony and from that stream because the servers came back just a couple of days later, which is great news, of course, for us Vita fans. And so I thought, yeah, perfect time to jump in and do another stream of the Killzone Mercenary online, so that everyone can check out. And hey, if you guys are online and available, feel free to jump in. This is just a public game I jumped on, so I'm not going to set up a private room, but it'd be great to have as many people online as possible for these matches. Yeah, exactly. I agree. I'm so glad the servers came back. It's just sad when we kind of lose the online on a game like this, which is just so much fun. Uh, so no, it's awesome that it's that they came back again. Yeah, it's Drowning Lemming, definitely. It's a really great looking game, one of the best looking games on the Vita, and so it's the graphics are just awesome, really sort of realistic looking, and just even now, it's how many years old? Like 6, 7 years old? 2013 it came out. Yeah, 7 years old. God, and it looks amazing still. This is definitely one of the kind of most fun games I think in the Vita when it comes to online. And it's great that there's still loads of people playing. And this is the servers going offline actually gave a good reason for everyone to just kind of jump back into it again. As you can see though, I'm not particularly good at this game, but still love it. Can't help but enjoy it. So no, I only started streaming like maybe 2.5 weeks ago. So Sackplay is asking if I only stream Killzone Mercenary online. So I only started streaming a couple of weeks ago, and I just stream Vita games. It's not Killzone Mercenary online or anything. I'm thinking actually next maybe Need for Speed Online. I know that's another one of those games where I'm missing the online trophies and would be happy to kind of jump back in and try and grab them. And so I thought that may be a cool game to play online as well. And that is another awesome game, really fun, really great looking game as well on the Vita. So I was thinking that would be potentially the next one, maybe later this week. And I think the first stream I did that was Uncharted, which was kind of just trying out because I've never done this before, so I thought it'd be just fun to give it a go. Hey Ian, thanks for joining. Britta, Chris, thanks everybody for joining. Oh, I need to concentrate on the screen for a second. So yeah, if you've got your copy of Killzone Mercenary handy, then feel free to jump on as well. Then we may find each other on the online. I find this game really hard though. Yeah, I'm definitely not I'm definitely not that good at it, but it's a lot of fun. I think I'm just generally not that great at first-person shooters. Normally when I play Fortnite still a fair amount with my kids. My kids love it, and so we normally take turns and play it. And so I normally kind of get by just by hiding in bushes, and just kind of make the top 10, and then try and like sneak out at the end and shoot someone and end up getting killed straight away.
Arc missile available.
So who's excited for the PS5 event on Thursday? I don't think I'm gonna get the PS5. It's I think I've still got too much of a backlog on my PS4 to really justify it, but I'm kind of excited to see what they're gonna do. Oh, so Britta, you've never actually seen Killzone Mercenary. It's a really good game, really good game. The single player is a decent length as well. Um, it's yeah, the single player is great. The multiplayer, like it's awesome. Uh, Very tough, very very tough, but really fun. Chris, yeah, now I'm gonna try and post stream every now and again. I think it's quite fun actually. And normally my channel's been very much about kind of doing reviews of Vita games, but I think especially now where we're not getting that many games. So I could go back and look at some of the old games, but I think I quite like the idea of doing streams like this as well. Niall, so you're asking if you can aim. So yes, you can aim. So hopefully you can see that in the video. I feel like the audio is a little bit delayed from the video, um, or at least from what I see anyway. But hopefully you can see that you can aim in this game. Cool, Sackley, no worries. Whenever you're online, that's fine. Thanks, Chris. So Chris said any content is great. Nice seeing the videos regardless. There aren't many people making Vita videos, and actually Britta is online as well. Britta Food for Dogs, and she makes a lot of videos as well for the Vita. So if you haven't checked out her channel, then she's a great resource as well. Lots of unboxings as well of Vita games. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what Sony has on Thursday for their event. I'm very curious about some of the new games that they're going to be bringing. I think that's kind of the most exciting bit, just kind of knowing what games are coming out in the future. And hopefully, if they still work with the PS4, then I'm gonna probably just get it there, since I'm not gonna upgrade for a little while. So Palki, so you're saying Soul Sacrifice Delta? Yep, that's on my list. I think Need for Speed, Soul Sacrifice Delta, Freedom Wars. Those are some of the games I definitely want to get to and play online. So David, you're asking what mode I'm playing. I think it was Guerrilla Warfare. I'm pretty sure that was the one, but when I come out of this match, I'll just double check. And by the way, apologies guys. So I know I was actually supposed to do this stream last week, but I was feeling a little bit ill. So even if I go kind of on mute for a little bit, it's probably that I just need to have some water and cough. So please forgive me for that. So Sackplay, yeah, that'd be great. Do Need for Speed Online. I was thinking even potentially Thursday night, maybe after that PS5 event. That could be a cool time to do next stream. So then maybe Need for Speed then. So hopefully I'll see you online then. So B Kemba Wright saying I miss PSX down in Orange Country. We need another event like that for Sony. Ah, totally agree. I went to 2 of the PSXs and I loved it. It was really cool. Like, I mean, going all the way from England to the US, it was a long trip, pretty expensive, but it was so cool. I really had a good time there, and just playing all the games, meeting loads of people that love PlayStation and the Vita as well. It was awesome. It was a really, really good time. So yeah, I hope they bring that back. You know, if they bring it back this year, I would definitely be up for going. So Nile, yes, Soul Sacrifice Delta. That's the one I would try and play. Soul Sacrifice is still good, and it's it's not actually that different to be fair from Delta. It's just Delta has a lot more modes, a lot more bosses. It's just the better of the games, I would say, of the two. It's not really a sequel; it's more like an expansion. Yeah, Modesty Blaze. It is definitely great to see these servers back online. It's I got to admit, I was really frustrated at Sony before, but it's they've done it must have been just some kind of temporary work or something they were doing on it, so it's great that they're back online now. So Chris is asking, off topic, how's the virus situation in the UK? Yeah, I mean, they're kind of removing lockdown in a lot of ways. So, it's kind of, they're saying it's safe to sort of go out more. Schools have opened. I don't know. I'm a little bit hesitant personally. It feels pretty soon to be exiting lockdown. So, for me, I don't think anything's really going to change. Me and my wife are lucky; we can both work from home. So, we're just going to stay at home and just stay with the kids because they're not going back to school yet. But yeah, so it's okay. It's kind of I think being at home all the time, it kind of shielded a bit from what's happening in the outside world. I mean, we're lucky in that way that we can work from home. So it doesn't really feel it doesn't feel kind of it feels a little bit surreal, I guess, in terms of what's happening in terms of everyone else regarding lockdown. But kids are safe, kids are doing well. I think trying to get them to do online learning with school is a tough part, but otherwise, things are good. Wow, I'm really getting killed a lot here. So B Kemba, so you mentioned that PlayAsia had Delta on sale a month ago. Yeah, they did. I think they've run out of stock now, but it's again, if they bring it back, because it seems like they're going back and ordering some old games from Sony, or not that old, but ordering some of the kind of old games from Sony for the Vita, and kind of do reprints of them. So if it comes back and you guys haven't seen it, Delta is awesome, really good. So much content uh, compared to actually quite a lot of content compared to the original Soul Sacrifice. Oh, so Modesty Blaze, you're in Wales and it's stricter there. Yeah, I think I think everyone is stricter. I don't understand the strategy here. My dad's a doctor. He has gone back to help in the hospitals, even though he's pretty old. But yeah, it doesn't seem like many doctors kind of understand what the government is doing. But hey, what can you do? So Drowning Lemming, you've been working from home. You think it's fun. You've been doing it for the last 4 months. Yeah, I'm fine with it. I'm talking to. I don't normally. My office that I would normally go to is pretty small. So a lot of the people I talk to for work are online anyway, or abroad. So yeah, it's been fine for me actually. So RC from NYC is asking what hardware software am I using to stream the game. So I'm actually streaming on my Vita. Um, so I've got a hacked Vita that lets me. Sorry, I'm just trying to shoot that guy. I've got a hacked Vita, so I can stream it out to a PC, which is really useful. So it's almost like kind of a switch in terms of just streaming straight out onto the computer. And then I'm recording it using OBS, um, which stands for Open Broadcast Software. So, and from there, I'm just streaming it out to you guys. So this, I know I've spoken about it on the previous stream, but honestly, having a hacked Vita is so awesome. It's there's just so much you can do with it. Yeah, I think it's really great. Hi, Tapeface. Thanks for joining. And yeah, thanks, Drowning Lemming. Yeah, I think my dad is taking precautions and everything, when he sees when he goes to the hospital. But yeah, it is a little bit of a worry. Oh. So I had a really productive weekend, guys, in terms of the next book. I finished the SteamWorld retrospective, and then I wrote two more retrospectives for Under Night in Birth and Reverie as well. So I was only supposed to write one page for Under Night. It was just trying to fill up one extra page I had when I did the Papers, Please retrospective, because I was trying to aim for 4 pages, but it got to 3 pages. So I was just trying to write one page, and then for Under Night, I ended up writing like a bit too much. So I realized I kind of gonna give Under Night its own 2 pages, and then I decide to do a short one for Reverie as well. Hey Langtech, thank you very much for donation, guys. Please, you don't need to do that. Honestly, it's really appreciated. But just come hang out in the stream. Um, thank you so much. Honestly, just hang out. There's no need for kind of donations or anything. This is kind of, we don't get many kind of Vita community streams or anything like that. So this is more just for us as Vita fans to hang out and play Vita games. But thank you so much, Langtech. Thank you. Ah, Tapeface, that's really nice to hear. So you bought a Vita because of me, because of my videos. That's very cool. I'm glad you enjoy it. It's I get kind of nervous sometimes when people say they followed one of my recommendations, because you kind of hope that you gave them the right advice and everything. But it's great that you enjoyed it. Langtech says I did it because I want to, and you can't stop me. Well, look, thanks, man. Thank you so much. It's really appreciated. Yeah, very cool of you, man. Thank you. So Modesty Blaze, yeah, SteamWorld, such a great game. And actually, writing that retrospective, looking into the history of the studio and kind of how it came to be, it was really cool kind of story as well, and background, and kind of the journey that it went from being kind of a publisher. Well, actually, it was kind of more of a what's the right word? The word has completely lost me. Like kind of a visual design company. It went from visual design company, hence the name Image and Form, to video game maker. It was a very cool kind of journey, and just an awesome set of games as well. So Sackplay, yeah, I've actually written 2 books about the Vita, and so I'm writing my third, and the third one will be the final one. And so I've kind of charted the history of the Vita across these 3 books. And this one, oh, sorry, just had to go kill someone. So this one is going to be the last one, where I'm kind of focusing on the final years of the Vita. So the first book was really the launch of the Vita and the first year on the market, and the next one was the years 2 and 3, and then this one is kind of every year after that, basically. And so it's very cool to kind of to write these books and sort of chart the course of this device, which is kind of my favorite device ever. Hey David, that's cool. Are you on this match, David Molnar? It's very hard to tell, kind of, and just seeing who's on. Silent Bun. Oh, Silent Bun. I follow him on Twitter. He's on the opposing team, so he's probably killed me a few times. So Bkemba, the books aren't available right now. So I'm getting them reprinted. So after the third book, I kickstarted it, and I'm gonna reorder the books 1 and 2 for people that kind of wanted that. And so once I get that done, I'm gonna have them kind of up on my website. But they're not available yet. I'm still working on book 3. I think it's not too far away from being done, actually. So I estimated it'll be done in January, but I think it'll be done a lot sooner than that. And so once that's done, then I'll also order all the other 2 books as well. So I've got everything on my website. Hi Daniel, thanks for joining. I mean, another thing, guys. So there's a link in the description to this video for a survey on SurveyMonkey. So kind of associated with the book, I'm also doing a magazine, kind of a one-off zine to go with the book, which is kind of going to list the top 100 Vita games for me and also for the community. So if you guys are, are able to, and you have 5 minutes to spare, if you could go onto that survey and identify what are your top 10, sorry, Vita games, it would be great to just kind of get as many people as possible voting, so that then we could have a really kind of full list, kind of the real sort of definitive community list of the top 100 Vita games. That's what I'd really love to kind of have from this. I think so far there's about 380 people have voted, but I know we can get more than that. So it'd be great if everyone could do that. So Adrian says, thank you for not giving up on the Vita. Well, definitely, man. It's my favorite device, and I've got such a big backlog, so I'm going to be playing it for a long time. I'm happy to stick with it. I've got so many physical games and digital games still to get to that yeah, I don't think I could move on to a PS5 anytime soon. So Sackplay saying, that's cool. How detailed are the books? So they basically, what I've kind of done for each of the books is split them into 3 sections. There's a history section, which charts what happened to the Vita, all the kind of events, big events, kind of leading up to, in the first book, its launch, and then that first year. And then I've also got interviews with developers. And so for book one, I had interviews with a lot of the game directors from those first big games for the Vita, like Escape Plan, Wipeout, Little Big Planet, and then kind of just retrospectives about some of the big games as well. So just kind of talking about how they were developed, how they came to be, and just talking about the games themselves. Those sort of big titles, things like Persona 4, Little Big Planet, Uncharted, that sort of thing as well. So Langtech Salt and Sanctuary, great game, really good game, one of my favorites on the Vita. I'm a big fan of Demon Souls and Dark Souls, and that really kind of brought the same feel of those games to 2D, which was just awesome. Oops, died there again. So Daniel, no, thank you for tuning in. It's Daniel saying, it's great to keep the spark of the Vita alive for a long time. I agree. It's, that's kind of what we can all do together, I guess, to do that in terms of playing it and just sort of talking about it. And, hopefully these streams can help with that as well. And just sort of bring kind of the Vita fans together a bit, playing online some of these games. It'd be a great little thing to have done for the community. Hey, Kabuki Kid, thank you for joining. Spencer, hi. How you doing, man? Thanks for jumping on. So Kabuki Kid, yeah, I agree. I hope they do have some deals on PSP games coming to PSN. We don't seem to get many Vita and PSP game sales these days. But yeah, I would love to see that. I was thinking I may do some streams of PSP games as well at some point, just because there's so many that are great, and I think that's another device that just got a little bit kind of overlooked compared to some other systems.
Friendly vulture incoming.
So Langtech says Salt and Sanctuary was a love letter to Dark Souls. Yeah, I actually met the couple who made the game at PSX 2016, 2017. I can't remember which one it was, but it was really cool to actually meet them and then get a chance to kind of play the game on the Vita as well that first time. Spencer says, hope everyone is happy. We finally have a Vita QA opening up soon. Yep, definitely. So I don't know if you guys have all heard that news, but we couldn't get any new Vita games for a while because the QA, Sony's QA was shut down. Sorry, guys. Sony's QA was shut down because of the coronavirus, and so now it's starting up again. So we'll finally get more games coming. There are a few games that have been on hold because of it. So it'd be great that we finally get them to come out.
Vulture, I say again, Hellgas
Sorry guys, I go on mute every now and again. Just still got a bit of a cough from last week, so just need to kind of pause, cough, and drink a bit of water. So Igor, yes, Siphon Filter, great games on the PSP. Although I actually don't think they hold up quite as well as they used to. I played them again probably about a year ago now, and I don't think they're quite as good as I found them when I first played them, back on the PSP. Still good, but I think when it comes to kind of stealth action games on the PSP, I think Metal Gear Portable Ops is the better choice. Or Peace Walker, of course. So Tapeface asked, do I think the Vita would have succeeded or done as well if it went for the Switch? I think it probably wouldn't have changed the fortunes too much, to be honest, unfortunately. Yeah, I think we'd probably still be in a very similar position. I don't think it would change the number of games coming or anything. Yeah, it's Sony had given up on it. We're only really getting indie devs, indie games, and Japanese games. So I don't think that would have changed if even if there was no Switch. So Modesty Blaze, yeah, I love the God of War games on the PSP. Great games. And that's one of the things that's kind of, I think it was actually one of the God of War games or Crisis Core. I was thinking there's potential streams on the PSP, just because they're so much fun and so easy to jump into and play. So Kabuki Kid says some PSP games are actually better on the Vita. Yeah, it's true. Like Resistance Retribution. Third Birthday is another example. Peace Walker. Portable Ops as well. There's a few games that are better on the Vita than they are on the PSP. The second analog stick definitely makes a difference for some of these games. So Fletch says the PS5 on the event on 11th. Sorry, PS5 event on the 11th. He's still hoping for Vita remote play. Please let it happen. I hope so, man. It would be cool to see it. I don't really have my. I'm not going to hold my breath for it. I think given that you can do remote play on phones and on PCs now, I think they're just going to give up completely on the Vita. I think for them, unless they've got a device that is super duper successful, they don't want to talk about it or have anything sort of to do with kind of a average device, which I kind of feel like that's what they think the Vita is. Oh, Kabuki Kid, you know the guy someone who's on design team for Siphon Filter. That's very cool. So Spencer says, shout out to Peace Walker for pushing the PSP so far. So far that it ran at 20 frames per second max, and still stands out as an amazing game late on the PSP generation. I don't think it was quite 20 frames per second. I remember playing that quite comfortably. But it definitely pushed the Vita a lot. The PSP. It was such a gorgeous game for that system, and so awesome, so much content in it. That was one of the games. I don't know if you guys ever did this on the PSP, but you could kind of play online on the PSP using Ad Hoc Party. So going through your PS3, you connect your PSP to the PS3 and then play with other people who have done the same. Which was a real pain to do, a really kind of silly system. But, for Peace Walker, I did it, and actually it was great, just kind of going online and co-oping with other people to finish some of these really tough bosses. So Sackplay, no, I wasn't going to stream the PS5 event, to be honest. I think loads of people are probably going to be doing that anyway. But I thought maybe after the event, do kind of a stream, like I said, Need for Speed Online, and we can jump on and talk about if anything cool or interesting has come out for it. like I said, I doubt there'll be anything for the Vita, but hey, so we can just jump on and kind of chat about that what Sony has announced for the PS5. Langtech mentions, yeah, the Vita is featured in Last of Us 2, which is pretty cool. Although it isn't, it's a case of Ellie killing the last Vita player, so it's not sure how much love Sony's really giving to it. So Spencer mentions it's a shame that Sanzaru, makers of Sly and God of War collection on Vita, never got to port the God of War PSP games with trophies. Yeah, that I would have loved to have had that. I think the God of War games, Peace Walker, Crisis Core, even Patapon games, I would have loved to have had remakes of those on the Vita where you could actually have trophies as well, and better graphics. I think I would 100% have played those games again if I could have played them again for trophies. B. Kemba Wright says, just wonder if Sony says they're going to be introducing the PS Vita 2. Yeah, people would go crazy if that happened. That would be amazing. And the Switch does show that there is a market for portables, and the Switch Lite is supposed to be selling really well. And if the Switch Lite is selling well, it shows that, portables can succeed. But I don't know. I don't know if Sony will kind of listen to that. Tapeface says, man, I feel sad knowing Sony doesn't care about such a great portable console. Yeah, me too. Me too. It's rubbish. They really, really kind of dropped the ball, I feel, with the Vita. Oh, so Kubiki Kid, you're saying that Richard Ham, he was the guy who worked on Siphon Filter. He has nothing to do with video games anymore. He's heavily into board games and runs a channel reviewing them. Okay, interesting. Interesting, okay. Siphon Filter was, those two games on the PSP. I didn't play the PS2 ones or the PS1 games, but those were really fun games. So, Modesty Blaze asked, did you see the Vita in the Last of Us 2 media event? And she got emotional about seeing that one. Yeah, I did see. I think it went around the internet quite a lot when that came on. I didn't watch the event myself. I've got Last of Us 2 ordered, and I just kind of want to avoid any talk of it or any sort of I don't need to know anything about the kind of what's in the game. I'm just going to wait and see the game itself. So I didn't see the event, but then I saw all the GIFs and everything and videos going around online. Langtex like Ellie killed the Vita because she killed a player because she wanted the Vita for herself. Yeah, I'm looking forward to Last of Us as well, Last of Us 2. So I haven't been buying that many PS4 games, but Final Fantasy VII Remake was awesome, and that and Cyberpunk are on my list of definite buys. So I've got high hopes for that one. So Kabuki Kid says, Sony shot themselves in the foot with how they handled things with the Vita, and they ended up blaming mobile phone gaming for the Vita not succeeding. They thought people wanted small games. Yeah, I think that's part of the problem. I think that was the assumption that I think everyone assumed that. It was, I remember loads of interviews and everything before the Vita came out, and people were just kind of assuming the Vita would be killed or would not be able to survive given all the smartphone and people having little games on their phones. And so I feel like a lot of people just kind of wrote off the system straight away. But then I think maybe just about a year or even 2 years afterwards, they realized that actually, mobile phone gaming has become such a kind of crappy place with all the free-to-play and aggressive monetization that I think it kind of showed that a device like this is actually what people could use and what people really wanted. So Langsec says, if you think about it, where did she charge the Vita? And it must be some super quality for it to function in a post-apocalyptic world. The Vita is a pretty solid machine. It's I think I'm hoping mine will last for a long time. Now, how do you launch? I've got these porcupine missiles, but I can't remember how to actually launch them. No, I have no idea how to launch these. Oh well, doesn't matter. So yeah, I think for that first stream I did for this about a week and a bit ago, like I said, that was the first time I played this in a while.
Friendly vulture incoming.
So still can't remember how to launch some of these special moves. So if anyone remembers how to use the porcupine missile, let me know, because I remember that was really powerful. So Marcelino was playing The Last of Us online via remote play last week. Yeah, I kind of wanted to do the same. I wanted to kind of jump back into it before before Last of Us 2 came out, but there's just been too many games, and it took me about a month to finish Final Fantasy 7. So yeah, there was no time really to do that. But I would have loved to have spent the time to do that as well. So Kabuki Kids mentions Vita's biggest initial problem was the proprietary and very expensive memory cards. Plus a few AAA releases that were disappointing, like COD and Resistance. Yeah, that definitely hurt it a lot. I think it kind of it spoiled the impression of the Vita straight away. When you had games like that, which are almost they should have been they should have been system sellers. You know, Call of Duty should have been a massive game for the Vita. And even if they had just launched like Call of Duty Zombies, which was on mobile, if that had come to the Vita, that I think would have done so much better and been much better quality than what we got. I don't think Black Ops Declassified was that bad, but you know, it was definitely, you know, a disappointment, especially just that you could finish the whole game in 1 hour. I know that kind of really annoyed a lot of people and really annoyed a lot of reviewers, which definitely hurt it kind of overall when it came to review scores as well. But yeah, I think that was one of the big things that kind of really ruined things for the Vita. Just it made people then suddenly think, oh, okay, the Vita can't handle good games. When you look at something like this, or you look at Freedom Wars or Soul Sacrifice, you know, there are so many great games, but it just left a bad impression, I think, especially for that first year, to have games like Call of Duty and Resistance when we should have had some really good quality first-person shooters. And Kabuki Kid mentioned they should have made memory cards very cheap. Yeah, agree. If they're going to make it proprietary, why make it so expensive? It just kind of leaves a bad taste in everyone's mouth in terms of buying it, because then you have to buy the system and then you have to buy you know, like a $50 memory card as well. It doesn't, you know, it puts a lot of people off. So Kabuki Kid, you pre-ordered Last of Us 2 as well. Yep, great. So I'm looking forward to online as well with Last of Us. So I know it's not coming out for a while, but I don't know if you guys played Last of Us Online. It was awesome. One of the best online modes I've ever played. It's really kind of slow and tactical, and you have to use teamwork or you will not survive. It was just great. Really good. Well recommend trying to jump on that and play online. So Art Soldier, thank you for asking and thanks for joining. He asks how my health is. Yeah, I'm okay, man. It wasn't anything serious. It was just kind of a flu. So yeah, I'm fine now. Still got a bit of a cough. So I mentioned to the others before that, you know, I will go, you know, quiet for a second sometimes and just need to have some water. But otherwise, I'm fine, thanks. Yeah, Kabuki Kid, I agree. You know, Uncharted was kind of the killer launch title. But even that, I remember a lot of people, you know, again, reviews and stuff saying that, oh, you know, the Vita didn't have a killer app at launch. But Uncharted was amazing. That, Wipeout 2048, I think even MotorStorm as well was really good. Really fun. Oh, someone got me. Really fun little game. And just, actually, but there were so many good games. Stardust, Plants vs. Zombies was awesome on the Vita. Escape Plan. it had so many great launch games. It's just a shame that I think, they didn't really spread the games out. And so people then said, oh, the Vita's got no games because there weren't many games for the next few weeks after that. But it had a lot of great games at launch. Cross, thank you for joining. Yeah, I did play Little Big Planet on the Vita. Again, another really good game. Really good single player as well. I think the single player for Little Big Planet Vita is more fun than the PS3 Little Big Planets. And online, there's still so many levels out there. It's awesome. That's another game I wanted to stream at some point, and maybe just kind of jump online and play some random levels from people, and just see what kind of levels come up. But that's another solid Vita game. Modesty Blaze asked, do I think Ghost of Tsushima carries a Vita in his pocket? That would be cool if that came up there. Probably a little out of place, but I guess if a Vita can survive in a zombie apocalypse, maybe it can time travel to feudal Japan. Kabuki Kid, completely agree. If you're going to push digital downloads, so Kabuki Kid says if they wanted to push digital downloads, they should have made the memory cards really cheap. That would have made so much sense. I think, or even at least if they had put, say, 8 gigs of memory on the Vita itself, so people didn't have to have a card, they could just they could use the memory on the Vita. That would have helped a lot. Then people wouldn't have to be worried, wouldn't have to worry about it at all. Oh yeah, Marcelino. So yeah, the killer app would have been Grand Theft Auto. Agree. If that, if there had been a Grand Theft Auto game, I think that would have helped a lot. I think that's one of the things that helped the PSP a lot. The PSP was super successful. Sold, 80 million units or something, or 70 million. Massive, super successful. And I think something like Grand Theft Auto really helped with that. But even though I think one of the big problems with the PSP was all the piracy. So they sold a lot of hardware, but they didn't sell a lot in terms of games. But it's still, you're right. I think a Grand Theft Auto game would have done a lot for the Vita as well. That would have made a big difference. So Kabuki Kid, you mentioned Plants vs Zombies' sad story because it was removed from the from PSN. Yeah, and it is actually the best version of it, though the developers did mention it was the best version on the Vita because you can use touch controls and physical controls, which made it actually a lot better. So I remember playing it. I think the first time I played it was on my phone, and it's just sometimes you make a mistake dragging things over. It's not as precise when you're using your finger, but on the Vita, you could tap the screen to collect sun or whatever, and then you could also use the buttons to make sure that you're being precise in terms of where you're putting everything. So no, it was definitely the best version of the game. So it's a shame it was removed. So Igor mentions write to Mark Cerny and tell him tell him that players want Vita too. I think Sony are well aware that people want it, but I think the part of the problem is it's just not enough people. I think they've got so many fans for the PS4, 100 and something million units sold. I think they were burned by the Vita, and so just probably wouldn't want to go back to it again, unfortunately. So Daniel mentions he guesses the rise of free mobile gaming killed the Vita, besides the memory card problem. So I agree, Daniel. I think that did hurt the Vita, but like I said, I think it was kind of almost like a fad in terms of mobile gaming's popularity. Everyone was really into it, saying this was the next thing and this was going to kill consoles as well. But I think just even by 2013 or so, I think even by 2012, really, people were kind of a bit fed up with the monetization, the way mobile gaming was kind of working, and I think it was putting people off it. But I think the Vita almost came out in that odd period where people were assuming it was going to be big, but then it turned out to be a bit of a dud, and especially for developers and trying to make money from mobile. But the Vita just came out maybe at the wrong time, maybe kind of a year early or a year later, and it may have done a lot better. Yeah, agree, Kabuki Kid. So you mentioned that the success of the Switch should show that the mobile phone gaming isn't sort of the killer, isn't a console killer. It's true. I mean that's a perfect demonstration of it. But yeah, I don't know if Sony are kind of gonna bother listening to that right now. Oh yeah, Modesty Blaze, you mentioned the Bioshock game that was supposed to come to Vita. That, I wish we had got that. You know, just the idea of it sounds cool, like kind of a tactics game in the Bioshock universe. That would have been awesome. It's again, yeah, a real shame that something like that. But my understanding is they announced it without the game being in development at all. It was just like an idea in Ken Levine's head, and he announced it without really having anything done. So it was, yeah, I think they probably should have waited until there was actually something solid there, a real kind of demo maybe to show. So Langtech, so out of curiosity, he says, out of curiosity, who has any GTA games on their Vita? So on my other Vita, I've got Grand Theft Auto Chinatown Wars, which I think is the best GTA PSP game. Actually, I think it's I think it might be my favorite GTA game. Um, you know, I enjoy GTA games, but I tend to get kind of a bit bored by the amount there is to do. I feel like they kind of drag on a little bit, and I've got this silly OCD where I want to try and 100% everything, and then I just end up getting bored of the game. But I found Chinatown Wars was just excellent on the PSP. It's and you know it runs great on the Vita as well. It's an old school Grand Theft Auto game, so kind of like Grand Theft Auto 1 and 2, where it's top down rather than 3D, but still kind of similar sort of storyline and you know kind of crazy fights and action. But it's such a fun game. I think I did a video on it on my channel maybe 2 or 3 years ago. But actually, that's another great game to stream just to show that off and just to talk about that a bit more as well. So Kabuki Kid, no, I think the GTA games are all on the PSN store, the PSP GTA games. I think you're right, they were removed for a little bit, but I'm pretty sure, at least for the EU store, that they are all available. I think you can buy them all as a set as well, which makes it cheaper. Oh, died again. There are a lot of great PSP games. I mean, it's a shame that some games like Crisis Core and Kingdom Hearts never made it. But, you know, there are so many great PSP games. And that's, again, another one of those things where I think people don't appreciate how many games the Vita has, because there are hundreds of PSP and PS1 games available on PSN to download and play on the Vita. So, One Good Riddance asks about the magazine and the book. So, so they're not available right now to order. But once they're done, I'm gonna have them up on my website, so you will be able to order the book and the magazine eventually. So I will make sure I order lots of extra copies for anyone who wants them. But yeah, right now I'm kind of more focused on just trying to get the book done. Yes, Langtech, so you mentioned that, did I know that Game Boy Advance had GTA? I was aware of that, actually. And the DS had the GTA Chinatown Wars as well. I think I played the Game Boy Advance GTA games. I'm pretty sure it rings a bell. It's probably quite a while ago, so I don't remember it. But I'm pretty sure I did, actually. So Douglas Kidd mentions Kingdom Hearts, Crisis Core, Persona 2 and 3 were great on the PSP. Yeah, I haven't played Persona 2, but the other three games are awesome. Really, really awesome. So Kabuki Kid, he's played Chinatown Wars and Liberty City Stories. So I've played Liberty City Stories and Vice City Stories, but I hadn't finished either of them. But it was still just, those were two games which were just great examples of like the power of the PSP. And just showed how good those games, how good the system really was. Oops, I just killed myself. Those are really impressive games. So Jacek asks, what about ebook so I can read it on my Kindle? Yeah, so actually, if you go to my website, toooldforgaming.com with a 2 and 4, so it's kind of same as my my channel name, toooldforgaming.com, one word. You can buy the digital books of for books 1 and 2. They're available there. Oh, that's a shame. So Marcelino mentions they removed GTA Vice City stories on the US store. That's really rubbish. I hate it when Sony does that. Oh well, not just Sony. I guess it's publishers as well. But it's rubbish when they take games off stores. It's just kind of limiting who can play them again in future. So Kabuki Kid, you bought GTA when it first came out for the for the PC, the original top-down. So that's actually, yeah, that was my first GTA game as well. My cousin, so I think I was about 16 or 17 at the time, and so my cousin bought it, and that was the first time I tried it. And actually, I got a memory of playing that game uh, before I did my first driving lesson. So really random story, but I remember going to his house and I was getting picked up by the driving instructor from his house, and he showed me this new game he had, and I thought, wow, that was really cool. And so that was it's kind of something I remember about playing that first GTA. So One Good Riddance says he cannot recommend Persona 2 enough. Start with Innocent Sin and then play Eternal Punishments. They're both intellectual games without being pretentious. Excellent stories and character development. Okay, that's good to know. I wasn't sure about. I mean, I'd seen like kind of the gameplay videos of Persona 2 and thought it looked interesting, but after playing Persona 3 and 4, I thought, oh, is it? It just seemed a bit kind of a bit retro and just kind of, it didn't seem like, I don't know, I didn't get a good feeling from just looking at the video. But I mean, that's great to hear. I'll try and go into it and grab that. It's quite expensive though. So I remember Persona 2 and 3 were really expensive on even on PSN still, despite their age. But I'll definitely check that out. So Langtex asks, he's curious about how I came up with my name. So I actually mentioned this recently on a podcast with Spencer Presley, who was online a little while ago. So it actually came up on a random day when I was talking to my wife and mentioning that I was going to go and play some games or something, and she said, "Oh, aren't you too old for gaming?" And then later on in the day, my mum said the same thing to me for some reason. I can't remember why. And then my mother-in-law said the same thing to me as well that same day. And so I kind of just thought, wanted to make kind of a YouTube channel. I thought, okay, I'm just gonna call it that, almost like a badge of honor for that title, or for what they were saying in terms of too old for gaming. So yeah, that was how I came up with the name Too Old for Gaming. So Art Soldier mentions many Japanese games become hidden gems and haven't had a chance to get English translations on the Vita, which makes you sad. Yeah, really. We're lucky that some games have been getting translation patches on the Vita. So I recently bought Catherine, which arrived only today. So we're lucky with some games we've got translation patches, so we can still play these Japanese games. But for me, one game that I really wish would have got a translation patch is Zanki Zero. So the gameplay is great. It's by the same guys who made Danganronpa, or the same, I think maybe the same director. About some people kind of end of the world, trapped on an island. Really, really crazy sort of survival action game. But I would have loved to have played that properly with a translation patch. I mean, you can still play it without it, but I think it's got a pretty deep story that I'd love to have been able to play properly. So that's a real shame. I mean, if we're lucky and someone does manage to make a translation of it one day, that would be awesome. But that's one of those games that I think really I would have loved to have seen a translation patch come out for it. So Langtech says, would I be able to add you? So feel free to add me, guys, on PSN and jump online. My PSN profile name is Insightful with an I with a 1 for the second I. So Insightful, but with a 1 for the second I. So Modesty Blaze, yes. So you've been looking for a copy of God of War on the Vita. Um, yeah, I think the prices have gone up quite a bit, but there is a problem with the trophies. So I played it on the Vita and actually realized after a few hours that I was missing some trophies. Um, I think it's easy to avoid. You basically just can't shut down the Vita, or if you shut down the Vita, then save and shut down the game, rather than just kind of closing or putting it to sleep. But I think so. I think it can be avoided. But yeah, it was very frustrating that I kind of got through most of God of War 1 and then realized that actually I was missing so many trophies. I would, say as a warning, I love the God of War games, but the Vita version of God of War 1 and 2 are the worst ways to play that game, unfortunately. It just looks, the graphics don't look great, the sound sounds really tinny. I don't think Sony did that game justice, to be honest, on the Vita, which, again, really silly of them, because it's one of their first party titles. They should have put more effort into it. So, yeah, I think they kind of dropped the ball a bit on that one. So Kabuki Kid, you mentioned, yeah, some games never get a discount. Yeah, the Persona games hardly ever. The Persona PSP games hardly ever go on sale. I think I've been waiting for 2 and 3 to go on sale. Oh, well, actually, no, I bought it. I just bought it in the end. I bought Persona 3 from US PSN in the end. I think during a sale there, but on EU PSN, don't remember it ever actually going on sale. Kabuki Kid, so you're in your 40s. Yeah, I'm in my 40s too. Never too old for gaming. I agree. It's one of those things where, I can see myself just... My wife does say to me sometimes now, like, are you ever going to grow out of it? And it's like, nope, I'm always going to be playing games. Been playing since I was like 3 years old, and I don't think it's something I'm ever going to stop. And now I can play my kids as well, which is even better. So Art Soldier, yeah, so Zanki Zero Last Beginnings. Actually, Mr. Snakecake mentions it a little bit below. That's it's a look it up. I did do a gameplay video of it on my channel quite a while ago, a long while ago now. But it's a really really cool looking game. Plays really well, really fun on the Vita. But yeah, just there's no translation patch of it, unfortunately. You can buy it on the PS4, but it's something I would have preferred to have played on the Vita on a handheld at least. So Langtech, you found the same issues with the God of War trophies as well. Yeah, it's rubbish. I know that, and they never patched it as well. So that issue has been there. I bought the game day one, played it, but and that issue I found that within a few days of playing, and never been patched. So Sony just being a bit rubbish when it comes to handling Vita games. So Jelly the Pro says, "Do you love the Vita?" Yeah, yep, I do definitely. I think my whole channel is Vita, apart from a few from Switch reviews as well, which I've been doing kind of more recently. But I'm still pretty much a Vita channel. So one good riddance, you mentioned that the Persona 2 game, Persona 2 is retro. The stories take place in the 90s. That's cool. I'm happy to check that out actually. And so Kabuki, you mentioned Shovel Knight has gone up in price a lot recently. It seems like a lot of Vita games have gone up in price. Some that have really surprised me, like Persona 4 Golden, is really expensive now. But even things like Ratchet and Clank and the Sly collection, they've all gone everything's gone really expensive, which is kind of surprising. I kind of assumed that at this point in the Vita's life, there's probably just a handful of people playing it, but clearly there's enough for it to still kind of for the games to still kind of demand a high value. So Jarvis says, "I sound like I'm in my 20s." Thank you. That's good to know my voice sounds young at least. Oh, so Mr. Snakecake mentions the last time Persona 3 was on sale was in 2016. That's, yeah, 4 years ago. God, that's rubbish. They should do more sales for these games. I'm sure they would sell more copies. So Douglas Kidd mentions he's 37 and no intention to stop gaming. Good stuff, man. Yeah. It's a great way to relax, and my husband's a gamer as well, which is cool. Yeah, it's my wife is definitely not into gaming. She gets quite stressed out when she plays, so sometimes we'll do kind of like group sessions of Mario Kart or something, and she can't handle it. She just gets really stressed out playing these games. But actually, my kids have got really into it. So my son, I have had a Fortnite victory royale once ever, and I got it. And I said to my son, like, oh, I got a victory royale for once. And he's like, oh, okay, yeah, I've done that like 5 times now. So he's he's a big Fortnite fan, plays it with his friends. He's pretty good at it as well. Yeah, Langtech, I totally agree with you. So Langtech says it's kind of stupid to ask someone if they'd grow out of playing games. Imagine asking someone if you're going to grow out of reading fiction or grow out of watching movies. Yes, actually, that is a great comment. I'm going to use that next time next time my wife says something. Love it. That's a good point. So Modesty Blaze, you're a 50-year-old housewife and still playing, and your partner is 60, who's mad for JRPGs. Great, that's awesome. And like I said, so there was a lady who was on stream earlier, Britta Food for Dogs. You may have seen her channel on YouTube. So she does unboxing videos for Vita games. So she's about 60s, in her 60s as well, and plays Vita games, which is very cool to see because I can definitely see myself doing the same. I always think, when I get old and my fingers become arthritic and painful to play games, that'll be the perfect time to jump into like turn-based RPGs, since you don't really need to have good reaction times for them. So Kabuki Kid, yeah, they did close the servers for Killzone. Oh, well, the servers went offline for a little while, but they are back. So I'm actually playing online right now with other people. So yeah, they did return the servers for Killzone. So we can play online again, which is great. So Jarvis says, serious question, PC versus console. What's your experience? And you're a subscriber from India. Well, look, thanks for joining the stream. It must be pretty late there for you. It must be very late, in fact, or morning time even. So personally, I prefer console gaming just for convenience of it. And actually, more than anything, I'm a portable gamer than sitting in front of a TV. I just find it easier just to be able to play anywhere, and especially when I go to work, or when I used to go to work. I used to travel on the train a lot, so it was great having my Vita because then you can get like a good couple of hours of gaming every day, just on the train rides. So I definitely prefer console gaming for convenience, and portable gaming in particular, just because it kind of fits my lifestyle as well. Yeah, so Marcelino mentions if Sony could take at least 1 or 2 studios to focus on making Vita games, studios like Bluepoint who did Metal Gear, that would have been great. If they had kind of just taken some of these sort of these porting studios and brought more PS2 games to the Vita. Would have loved to have seen the Kingdom Hearts collection or something on the Vita. That's what they should have done, but yeah, they let us down again on that, unfortunately. Kabuki Kid, so you nabbed Persona 4 Golden when you had the chance. That's great. Yeah, me too. So I've got a Canadian copy randomly. So the back cover is half English, half French. But I found it online really cheap, just like about 10 or 15 pounds. So it was a really good deal when I found it on eBay. But yeah, it's crazy how expensive that is right now. So Tapeface, you're 18. You can never be too young for Vita games as well. Oh, I don't think I've tried this Sky Fury. I don't think I've tried this special move before. It's pretty cool. Oh, Pantsmaker, thanks for joining. So he says I'm the channel that convinced him to buy a Vita. Cool. Well, look, I'm glad I could give you guys good advice. That's awesome. So crazy old man says his wife doesn't play games because he's too competitive. Yeah, I could see that happening to my wife as well. You know, she is pretty competitive as well, and I think she gets frustrated because she's just not very good at gaming. So Jelly the Pro, yeah, thanks for sending the friend request. I won't be able to accept it right now because obviously I'm playing online, but I'll do that later on. So Archangel, thanks for joining again. Yep, I love this game too. So Douglas Kidd says, I think gaming is a form of interactive art mixed with story. And he mentions that she's amazing food for dogs. And she also loves the Atelier series. So I've never played the Atelier series. So it's actually in my book. So I've got a retrospective for Atelier, which is written by if you're on Twitter, Kresnik, who's another big Vita fan. He's got his own website where he does a lot of Vita reviews. But he's a huge Atelier fan, so he's written it for me. But he did a great job with the retrospective. It kind of actually made me want to play the games more. But it's another series of games that don't seem to go on sale very often. But you know, next time it does go on sale, I'm definitely grabbing them. So yeah, Kabuki Kid, this is live footage. Yeah, I'm playing online right now with other people. So one good riddance asks, has anyone played Root Double? And if so, would you recommend it? It's still at $40. I haven't played it myself. I don't know if anyone else can give any advice to Good Riddance, if anyone's played it, if they enjoyed it. So yeah, Mr. Snakecake, you bought the Persona 4 from the official EU store when there was a sale a while ago. Actually, the Persona 4 Golden is really cheap on the EU store. It's only like £6.50, and I think that's the permanent price now. So you know, if you are thinking about grabbing it, it's a really good deal to grab the digital version at least. So Kabuki Kid mentions it would have been great to have something like Skyrim on the Vita. Yeah, I agree. Agree. I mean, just trying to think, did we have anything like that? Soul Sacrifice a little bit. I mean, it's kind of fantasy setting, dark fantasy setting, but yeah, not quite the same. Not that whole open world sort of game. But yeah, it would have been cool to have kind of a Skyrim on the Vita. Scott Murphy, I like the hashtag Vita Gang. That's cool. I think I'll use that on Twitter. That's great. So one good riddance mentions Salt and Sanctuary or Darkest Dungeon may fit the kind of Skyrim on Vita. Um, yeah, I mean, they've got a similar sort of feel in terms of sort of the sort of dark, very difficult fantasy settings. But yeah, I think Skyrim, you know, it's the 3D sort of action open world. That's something I think we really were sort of missing on the Vita. Yeah, Scott, I'm playing. So Scott Murphy says, am I playing online? Yeah, I'm playing online right now. Um, I'm not going to be staying online too much longer, guys. So it is nearly midnight in the UK, and I've got an 8 a.m. call tomorrow. So I will be logging off soon. But you know, thank you guys all for joining. It's been great, great doing this again. Great to have you guys kind of join for this and just chat about the Vita again, which is awesome. So Minotaka. So yeah, again, thanks for joining, man. Yep, servers are back online. So it's I think there's a lot of people playing right now as well, especially with the servers going offline. I think I saw somebody mention on Twitter, you know, maybe this was Sony's plan to get people playing Killzone online again. Just having the servers go off for a while and then putting them back on. It made people think, yes, I got to jump in right now. So Kabuki Kid mentions the SteamWorld games are all on sale in North America store. Great games. I would buy all three of them. Can't recommend them enough. I would play them in order as well, though. So start with Dig 1, then Heist, then Dig 2. Really fun games. Really, really awesome. So guys, I'm gonna shut down now. But you know, thank you so much for joining the stream. It's been great again for you know, to have you guys online. And what I mentioned it earlier for people who are on, but I'm going to do another stream on Thursday evening after the PS5 event, and so probably playing Need for Speed Online. And so if anyone else wants to jump on and try and grind some of those trophies and just again chat about the Vita, you know, it'd be great to have you guys there. So Artsold, you just mentioned what's my top 5 or at least top 3 JRPGs on the Vita. Top 5 JRPGs on the Vita. I mean, Persona 5 Full Golden would definitely make the list. I think World of Final Fantasy, again, another great one. It's not turn-based, but I would definitely say Ys 8. It's a action RPG, but that's awesome game. I definitely put that on the list. Cool, guys. Thank you very much for joining the stream, and hopefully I'll catch you on